What is he?
Oh no, it's Ragiroth Enterprises!
I love to sing about the moon and the June and the springer. I love to sing about a sky of blue or a keyboard too. Anything.
How's it going, everybody? Rich from Ragiroth Enterprises here with another video. Now, I was going to originally do a Mortal Kombat video this week to accompany my Yang BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle video. However, due to a certain Mortal Kombat leak, I was going to maybe wait and see what happened this weekend and do my next Mortal Kombat video. Due to, just because it would probably maybe play out a bit differently. So I wanted to talk about a Smash Brothers leak, actually two to be honest, that I've seen come about recently and a little while ago. Not pretty recently, but not. And one of them I'm less confident about. I'm not going to talk about as much, and I think is probably fake, but not totally set on it being fake yet. And then one could be real due to who's leaking it. So the first one I want to talk about, the one that I'm less confident about, is from I think 4chan. Yeah, it was from 4chan, and then there was kind of a piggybacker that posted on GameFAQs. The original leaker was named, I think, like Popo or something like that, and like the person that piggybacked off was named like Lazzyman or something. I love these names, but he basically said, to kind of sum it up, he leaked all this Nintendo stuff that's going to be revealed at E3. The Smash Bros. Things he mentioned was that they would reveal Captain Toad, Crash, and Spyro. Now, some of the other things he leaks, I'll mention them. He said the new Fire Emblem game would be called Fire Emblem, or Luminous Dawnbreak, something like that, which is actually kind of a synonym for Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, the second game that Ike had back on like the Wii a while back, which I actually kind of thought, oh, maybe it's Priam's game, Ike's Descendant, that's why it's kind of a synonym. Which I mean, people think it's fake just because it's such a lazy kind of synonym for it. And then one other one that really stood out was he said that in Mario Odyssey they're going to add Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi as playable characters, along with I think 70 new moons to get. I would freaking love if that was true. But I know, of course, that's one thing a lot of people say it's fake because of that. But the reason for, because I know, like, Captain Toad, like, unfortunately, a lot of us kind of expect. I'm personally not on board with him. I would much rather have Waluigi in Smash Bros. Kind of another reason I would like that Mario Odyssey thing to be true, because then people can shut up about Waluigi not being in a main game to not deserve to be in Smash Bros. But like, he is probably fairly expected. I could see him being an E3 reveal as much as I don't want to believe it. Now, Crash and Spyro are definitely more interesting ones. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, well, they're so much more associated with Sony. And yeah, they are, but they have had games on Nintendo systems before. Yeah, they're the less memorable games, but still. And plus, Crash Nsane trilogy is coming to the Switch at some point, so that might be kind of, oh, he's more part of Nintendo now. And Spyro, like, yeah, there is a possible chance that the Reignited trilogy is going to be ported to the Switch, especially because I think there was a trademark or something for it to the Switch or something like that. So that does sort of help that. And he does mention that I think the reason they're revealing Spyro for Smash is because they're also revealing that port coming to the Switch. Crash, I would be like, on board. Originally, I wasn't too thrilled about the idea of them being in the game, but then I was thinking it would be a game of like Mario, Sonic, Mega Man, Pac-Man, Crash, and Spyro, all these basically all the big game mascots in one game. That would be insane. I do like Crash. I don't know if I would use them that much personally. Spyro, I would definitely play a lot though. I really like Spyro. Well, that said, I think, the one guy, Lazzyman, the piggybacker, he said it's fake. And I should say the reason why this leak kind of gained some traction is because they predicted some stuff about the Nintendo Online service and exactly what day it's going to be revealed. However, I think all the details weren't even correct, and that's kind of the only thing they sort of got right, was the date that was going to be announced. And so I think some people have kind of gone through and been like, oh, this was actually kind of a possible day they were going to reveal it anyway. But basically, the piggybacker said it's fake. But I think he was really just that. He was just a piggybacker trying to kind of go off that leak in case it was true. And I guess so he could get credit for it if it did wind up being true. But I think it wasn't even exactly the same as Popo's. But Popo actually still says that it is true. I actually tried to click on, though I And that's the thing, I actually tried to click on the post, the 4chan post, and it says it's deleted, so that might not be helping that case, or it could be helping that case because sometimes things that are real do get deleted. But anyway, there's that leak. I personally lean towards it being fake. I think most people are. However, I just kind of want to keep it in the back of our minds, because if it does become true, then it's like, this guy might know some other insider information and other things, we know could be true as well, he says. And the other thing is, it's like, we're going to find this out at E3 anyway, which is only in a couple weeks, so it's not like we got to wait that long. So, again, take it with a huge grain of salt, but keep it in your mind regardless if it does wind up being true. I would be happy, not super thrilled if it wound up being true. I do think, I like Crash and Spyro, and I know they didn't really get a shot PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale, but it's like 2 more third parties together is kind of excessive, and I know, and Captain Toad is not a first-party character. I'd be looking forward to it all. I would like it more if there's a first-party character I was looking more forward to, and I do think Nintendo's maybe going a bit crazy with third parties, and I feel like it's all I'm really seeing people request now, which is a little discouraging. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping, they're not going to go that crazy with it. I mean, even though, hey, I was super thrilled Bayonetta got in the last one, even still, let's try to focus on the Nintendo characters for the most part first. Okay, so then the second leak. This one came out much more recently, and it is from our good friend, Das Vergeben. And, just a reminder, Vergeben was a leaker that he was right about some Soul Calibur 6 news a little before the game was, I think, officially revealed, or at least about the stuff with Grow, and I think some other, roster things. And another crazy thing he was right about was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being in Injustice 2. And even though it hasn't been shown off yet, he was the first person to mention the base forms being in, the base forms of Goku and Vegeta being DLC in Dragon Ball FighterZ. He did mention Broly and Bardock too before anyone else, but it's like, did we not think they were going to be in the game? And I know, some people even argue the base forms aren't something that outlandish. I think most of us think it's outlandish just because it's such a ridiculous idea with 2 Gokus and Vegetas in the game already. But anyway, Vergeben is a leaker that has been right before. That's kind of why this leak is, I think, gaining a bit more attention. So here's what he said. He said that at E3, he is very confident because of a source that was originally told him that Metroid Prime 4 is being developed by Bandai Namco. It's one of his more reputable sources that Ridley will be announced at Super Smash Bros. At E3. Yes, Ridley from Metroid, that big, awesome dragon guy that a lot of us have been wanting for a while, but, our chance to just kind of keep getting stomped on. So he says that, and I think he says he's also heard from other sources that Ice Climbers are coming back, which I think actually the other leak might have mentioned, and it's honestly, I think we all know they're coming back. The only reason they didn't make it in Smash 3DS and Wii U is just because of the hardware limitations on the 3DS. And that Simon Belmont from Castlevania. That, I think, is something, I guess, he's definitely a character that deserves it. He's definitely requested. It's just have that certain company that he's part of is kind of the issue. And then he also says that it is a sequel. However, because they're reusing most of the assets, no one is being cut, which would be amazing. But the not Ridley part, I think he wasn't he didn't say he was unconfident with. He was, I think, just saying he heard from different sources that that was happening. Oh, another thing he also mentioned, I think he also was one of the people that leaked the possibly idea that one of the games being announced is going to be Star Fox Grand Prix, which I actually noticed it was not, I think, mentioned in Popo Leak, which I don't know if that helps or hurts because we don't know if that's totally true or not either. I don't know if he was the original person that leaked that, but there have been reputable sources that have leaked that as well. So it's it's another thing that I guess sort of help. And also, he is actually not the only person to say that Ridley is going to be in the game. Yeah, I know Ridley is kind of become I guess a meme, a sort of too good to be true leak requested character now that I feel like a lot of leakers always mention and turn out to be fake. However, this is probably the first time a leaker or leakers have mentioned our boy Ridley and actually have been true about some other things. The other people that I think have leaked them are Emily Rogers, who I think has leaked some Switch games that were, I guess, that weren't announced yet, or like I think some 3DS games. I think like Captain Toad being for 3DS or something like that. And I think Resetera. Like I guess it's like Reset Era, but I think he's mentioned before. I think at least he's I guess someone else that leaked Metroid Prime 4, or that it was developed by Bandai Namco or something. I know there's some similarity there. I'm not 100% sure. So I mean, like, some semi-legit people have been leaking, at least Ridley. So I think, you know, again, grain of salt, I know, but I think it does hold some merit, or at least, you know, worth keeping our eyes out for. And again, if it's wrong, we're gonna find out at E3, which is in a couple weeks. So it's not like we gotta wait too long. I know the wait is killer, definitely, especially for this E3. But now I know a lot of people have been kind of discrediting it for like things that I don't think are entirely right to be discredited for. At least, like, they're reasonable reasons, but at the same time, it's kind of irrational at the same time. Now, the first thing is that, you know, yes, Virgo Ben has been wrong, and people think, oh, because he's been wrong, you know, that means he's never going to be right again, or he just got lucky. And yeah, he very well could have just gotten lucky. But, I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Justice 2, yeah, they weren't the most out there guest character, but I mean, I think most of us were expecting, you know, Spawn, or a Watchmen character, or I guess a more comic-associated character, put it that way. Like, I know they're comics, but we don't really, not everyone really associates them with comics. I mean, the Soul Calibur 2 stuff, like, I mean, he leaked freaking Grow for Christ's sakes, and even kind of described them a bit. And like, yeah, okay, maybe a double-bladed weapon was kind of like maybe the next logical choice, but I don't think it was, like, for sure definitely the most logical choice. I mean, I'm kind of surprised it took 6 games to have a double-bladed sword wielder. But like, yeah, he has been wrong, but he has been right. So it's like, you know, again, you can't just say, you can't let the wrong override the right, I guess, if you get what I'm saying. Then the other thing is with Ridley, is because it's Ridley. You know, Sakurai has said so many times that, you know, he's not going to make him playable because he thinks shrinking him down would, you know, not be who Ridley is. Well, I would say that if there is any, if I'm going to play devil's advocate, I'm going to say a couple things could have happened. Either A, Sakurai said, you know what, screw it. People want to be smaller, then he'll be smaller, and he just won't be, you know, as Ridley is gonna. People don't like it, you know, too damn bad, this is what they asked for. Could just be that. I personally don't really care, you know, all I really ask is maybe he's like as big as Bowser or like slightly bigger than Bowser. I'm fine. I mean, he's still a freaking badass dragon thing. Like, even if he's not as, like, you know, big as this building, it's like, I would still be scared if I saw that, like, you know, walking down the street or something, for God's sakes. He'd still probably have a really cool moveset. Or alternatively, I guess he could just simply be the biggest character in the game. Maybe he'll be, like, bigger than Bowser, maybe not, like, maybe he'd be a little smaller than he is in, like, say, Smash 4, but, like, still easily the biggest character in the game. And I mean, the thing is, it's like, people gotta realize fighting games do tend to have characters that are, like, clearly larger than everyone else. I'm not just talking about Zangief in Street Fighter, or Bowser in Smash Brothers, or, I don't know, Android 16 and Dragon Ball Fighter, and Nappa in Dragon Ball Fighters. I'm talking about, like, Abigail in Street Fighter V, Aganos in Killer Instinct, or Sentinel in Marvel vs. Capcom. I would maybe argue Broly in Dragon Ball Fighters, like, maybe. I mean, there's gonna be these fighting games do tend to have characters that are just clearly, like, definitely, like, the biggest characters in the game. Some, like, you know, with Aganos and Abigail's case, they have to actually zoom the camera out of the fighting stage. I don't even think you have to do that with Ridley, because Smash Bros. Is already so zoomed out. So, and the thing is, it's like modders have put Ridley in the game, and, like, yeah, he's a bit awkward looking, but I think it's just because it's not, you know, it's not Nintendo making it. I think, you know, they did an okay job. I think Nintendo would do an even greater job. But, and it's like, for what it's worth, Ridley, I think, is slightly more relevant this time. Because, well, spoilers for Metroid Samus Returns, for anyone that hasn't played it. I would skip maybe a little bit past this. He did actually wind up being the final boss in it. And he normally wasn't in Metroid 2. He was like this kind of hybrid of, I guess, regular purple Ridley and, like, meta Ridley, which was really sick. And it's like, there might be a chance he's even in Metroid Prime 4, which is coming out. I don't know if he will be in that, but he could be. I mean, he's Ridley, for Christ's sakes. So that's kind of my, I guess, argument of playing devil's advocate against the people that are instantly shooting this down just because of Ridley. For Simon Belmont, really, I think the two things that probably people argue is that He's not as relevant now, but it's like, I mean, we had like Mega Man made it, and he was kind of Simon is probably in Mega Man's place right now. He was the most requested third-party character, and he hasn't had a game in a while. His series was basically dead. At least Castlevania is a Netflix series, and they still put him in. Now I know, but I know the bigger issue isn't really Simon or Castlevania. It's the company they're attached to, and that's Konami. And Konami has been kind of crappy recently, and they don't really seem to want to make video games that much anymore. But here's the thing: they don't have to make Simon being in Smash Bros. All they really have to do is agree to it, I guess, get paid for it. I'm sure there's maybe like someone that would consult Sakurai and them, like, oh, how he should be in the game. But I guess, yes, then there also comes, and it's like, at the end of the day, money talks. If you're getting paid a lot, I don't think it would be like, oh, it's not a pachinko machine, we're not putting Simon in that. And I don't think they just don't want to make video games anymore. I don't think they really care if someone else takes their properties and makes a game out of it. That's why I'm still hoping for Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance 2. But anyway, so, I think if they look, pachinko is a very like Japanese thing. Netflix is a very American thing. Why would they be okay with a Castlevania series being on Netflix, a super, I guess, American thing, but like, not an actual video game where, Castlevania characters debuted and it's actually being made by Japanese developers. So I don't know, I think people are being a little irrational with that. I understand, I know, no one's really happy with Konami right now. I know that, but it's like, you can't let your jadedness kind of block any possibilities. And not only that, some people have brought up the idea that Super Bomberman R is doing great on the Nintendo Switch. And they've even added Simon and I think some other Konami characters to the game. So they're not that against of having the other Konami characters. And I think that game's probably way less of a big deal as Smash Bros. Having character in Smash Bros would be like way bigger deal than that. Not to discredit that game. But then I guess another thing is, Konami screwed over Hideo Kojima. And Hideo Kojima is a good friend of Sakurai, the guy that's in charge of Smash Brothers. That was the reason Snake was in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, on Kojima's request. And I guess someone did bring up a point. That would Sakurai be willing to work with a company that basically screwed over his best friend? And that did make me think, like, yeah, I guess, he would probably feel bad about it. But I did think of a couple hypothetical scenarios. So let's say, alright, Sakurai's looking at requests for the game, and he's looking at the ballot or whatever, requests that have been saying they want Simon in the game for a while. I think he has been requested for a while. He just hasn't been the top requested third-party character. But anyway, and he's just thinking like, damn, people really do want Simon in this game. And he is a really iconic, I guess, third-party series that has been associated with, Nintendo. But the company that owns him, this company that screwed over my good friend. Why don't I don't want to betray my friend, but at the same time, it's like, I do want the fans to be happy and get what they want, because Simon can work, Simon can work in the game. It's not like he's a Ridley situation. He could easily make it as a fighter. He's actually been in a couple fighting games before. So, maybe Simon. Maybe Sakurai would be like, all right, why don't I talk to Kojima and just ask, what he would think about the idea. Say he talks to Kojima. Kojima's like, look, yeah, I hate Konami, but it's like, you got to do what's right for your game and, what's your fans. So I would not be mad if, you ask Konami if you can put Simon in Smash Bros. He and Castlevania certainly deserve it, even if Konami themselves don't. They'll be like, okay, cool. Let's talk to Konami. Or it could have just been like, hey, money is money. I'm sorry, Kojima, but I'm just going to ask Konami without asking. I want to say that's less likely, but I don't know. Then I guess you could have the other hypothetical scenario where, Sakurai is just like, no, screw that. I don't care how much people want Simon. I'm not talking to Konami. Or I guess he could talk to Kojima and Kojima be like, hell no. Hell no, you're betraying me if you do that. But I don't know. Those are just hypothetical scenarios. I was just, thinking out in my head to kind of play devil's advocate in this. I'm not even going to argue the Ice Climbers, because we know they're basically coming back, even if this leak is fake. And yeah, in regards to it being a sequel, but, reusing assets thing, I think that is an amazing idea. I pray to God that's true, because I really don't want to lose characters. That's why I've been kind of hoping it was just a port, but I think this is kind of the best of both worlds. And people are like, oh, you can't do, you know, a new game without reusing assets. I think tons of sequels have done that. It is that usually Smash Bros. Is a game that usually revamps it, you know, each game. But I mean, this game was, I mean, it's not, Smash 4 hasn't been out that long, so it's like, you know, I don't really see I still don't see the reason to kind of revamp it that much. You know, so I think that's why, like, maybe they're just like, all right, let's, you know, Smash 4 is at a good place, let's kind of keep what we got and just sort of, you know, improve it. I'm hoping that's the case. You know, even if this league is fake, I hope they're still doing that. But I mean, now in regards to I want this being true, I will admit there is definitely some bias on my end towards it definitely wanting to be true, and that's kind of why I'm arguing devil's advocate. But to be fair, I did kind of even argue with the other leak too. I would definitely be much more happy with this leak. Ridley has been a character I've wanted for a while. I really would just like a new Metroid character at this point, but I mean, I can't argue that Ridley would be my most desired one. Simon is probably my, at least, well, I guess a Castlevania character. Simon's not my favorite Castlevania character, but I would, you know, a Castlevania character is probably my most desired third-party rep. So, like, yeah, there is, like, I will lose my freaking mind if this winds up being true. Do I think it's true? I really can't say. I think I think it is probably more likely than the other leak. I think just because there's just, you know, the leaker, you can say what you want about him being wrong, he has been right, and that's something to take note of. And, you know, again, other people that have, I think, been at least right, I think, with other things, have at least said Ridley's in the game. I don't know about Simon and them, but I mean, it's something. So just because of that, I think it's slightly more likely to be true, even though someone is coming from wishful thinking, I will admit. But it's like, he has been right before, so that's why it's like, you know, it could be true. But, you know, again, we're going to find out soon, at least with Ridley, I think, because he didn't really say if Simon and Ice Climbers would be revealed at E3. I think Simon would be revealed at E3, because that's kind of a big deal, and they usually announce third-party characters at E3. The only time they haven't was a Sonic and Brawl, ironically, because that was kind of maybe the biggest one. And I guess the DLC ones, like Ryu, Cloud, and Bayonetta. I think it's just because they were DLC. And I think it would, if that leak was true, it would kind of line up with how they, you know, what they revealed for Smash 4 when it was first announced. It was 2 first-party newcomers, and I know Inklings have been kind of announced already, but I guess it'd be them being shown off. Then and then Ridley is another first-party newcomer, and then Simon is the one, you know, third-party newcomer. You know, last time it was Mega Man, and even the second E3 for Smash 4, it was 2 first-party newcomers, the Mii's and Palutena, and then a third-party character. That does seem to be a pattern. I feel like the other leak, it kind of breaks that pattern a bit. Like, yeah, I know third-party characters are probably the place you want to reveal at E3, but at the same time, it does seem a bit excessive, especially because they're 2 third parties, Crash and Spyro, from a very kind of similar, I guess, aesthetic, I guess company, I guess Sony, you know, whatever, aesthetic, whatever you want to say. But, yeah, I think that's about it. You know, I'm praying to God it's true. I think that leak to me is so much better than the first one. I would be kind of disappointed if the first one's true now, but, you know, no offense to like Crash and Spyro. I guess either way, I would get a purple dragon in the game. One would just be significantly bigger. Yeah, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I know a lot of people are, you know, on the fence about this, or I see a lot of people kind of just, you know, saying it's fake. I want to hear what you guys think. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you dislike it. Don't forget to check out marking art in the description below. And as I always say, another time, another place, keep being awesome.